from Gen 1 all the way up to Gen 9. First up in the electric Pokedex entry is Pika 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 Pikachu. Pikachu. Pokemon Yellow. It keeps its tail raised to monitor its surroundings. If you yank its tail, it will try to bite you. Pokemon Gold and Heart Gold. This intelligent Pokemon roasts hard berries with electricity to make them tender enough to eat. Pokemon Crystal and Pokemon Scarlet. When it is angered, it immediately discharges the energy stored in the pouches in its cheeks. Pokemon Sapphire and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. This Pokemon has electricity storing pouches on its cheeks. These appear to become electrically charged during the night while Pikachu sleeps. It occasionally discharges electricity when it is dozy after waking up. Pokemon Platinum, Black and White, and Black and White 2. It occasionally uses an electric shock to recharge a fellow Pikachu that is in a weakened state. Pokemon Ultra Sun. Its nature is to store up electricity. Forests where nests of Pikachu live are dangerous since the trees are so often struck by lightning. Pokemon Sword. Pikachu that can generate powerful electricity have cheek sacs that are extra soft and super stretchy. Pokemon Shield. When Pikachu meet, they'll touch their tails together and exchange electricity through them as a form of greeting. Cap. Pikachu. Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Ultra Sun. This form of Pikachu is somewhat rare. It wears the hat of its trainer, who is also its partner. Pokemon Moon and Ultra Moon. This Pikachu is wearing its trainer's cap. Since the cap's not the right size, the fit is a bit loose. World Cap. Pokemon Sword. This Pikachu wears its partner's cap, which is brimming with memories of traveling through different regions. Pokemon Violet. This Pikachu wears its partner's cap, proof of the strong bond Pikachu and its partner formed during adventures across the world. Unova Cap. Pokemon Scarlet. The cap this Pikachu wears is filled with memories of this Pokemon and its partner traveling across the Unova region together. Sinnoh Cap. Pokemon Shield. This Pikachu is wearing its trainer's cap. The cap is proof that the two traveled throughout the Sinnoh region together. Partner Cap. Pokemon Shield. This Pikachu is wearing its trainer's cap. The cap is a precious symbol of a fateful encounter. Pokemon Violet. This Pikachu wears its partner's cap, proof of the strong bond Pikachu and its partner formed as the two overcame many hardships together. Original Cap. Pokemon Shield. This Pikachu is wearing its trainer's cap. The cap is proof that the two traveled across many regions together. Pokemon Scarlet. The cap this Pikachu wears is filled with the memories of this Pokemon and its partner traveling across lots of different regions together. Kalos Cap. Pokemon Scarlet. The cap this Pikachu wears is filled with memories of this Pokemon and its partner traveling across the Kalos region together. Hoenn Cap. Pokemon Sword. This Pikachu wears its partner's cap, which is brimming with memories of traveling through the Hoenn region. Alola Cap. Pokemon Violet. This Pikachu wears its partner's cap, proof of the strong bond Pikachu and its partner formed during adventures across the Alola region. Raichu. Pokemon Yellow, Let's Go Pikachu, and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. When electricity builds up inside its body, it becomes feisty. It also glows in the dark. Pokemon Crystal. If its electric pouches run empty, it raises its tail to gather electricity from the atmosphere. Pokemon Ruby and Omega Ruby. If the electrical sacs become excessively charged, Raichu plants its tail in the ground and discharges. Scorched patches of ground will be found near this Pokemon's nest. Pokemon Emerald. If it stores too much electricity, its behavior turns aggressive. To avoid this, it occasionally discharges excess energy and calms itself down. Pokemon Ultra Sun. As electricity builds up inside its body, it becomes more aggressive. One theory is that the electricity buildup is actually causing stress. Pokemon Ultra Moon. Because so many trainers like the way Pikachu looks, you don't see this Pokemon very often. Pokemon Legends Arceus. It can discharge bursts of electricity exceeding 100,000 volts. A single strike with that amount of power would incapacitate one of the Copperajah of my homeland. Alolan Geodude. Pokemon Sun. Its body is a magnetic stone. Iron sand attaches firmly to the portion of its body that are particularly magnetic. Pokemon Moon. If you accidentally step on a Geodude sleeping on the ground, you'll hear a crunching sound and feel a shock ripple through your entire body. Pokemon Ultra Moon. Geodude compete against each other with headbutts. The iron sand on their heads will stick to whichever one has stronger magnetism. Alolan Graveler. Pokemon Sun. Its preferred food is Dravite. After it has eaten this mineral, crystals form inside the Pokemon, rising to the surface of part of its body. Pokemon Ultra Sun. When two Graveler fight each other, it fills the surroundings with flashes of light and sound. Pikachu in Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. When it comes rolling down a mountain path, anything in its way gets zapped by electricity and sent flying. Alolan Golem, Pokemon Moon. Because it can't fire boulders at a rapid pace, it's been known to seize nearby Geodude and fire them from its back. Pokemon Ultra Sun. It's grumpy and stubborn. If you upset it, it discharges electricity from the surface of its body and growls with a voice like thunder. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. It uses magnetism to accelerate and fire off rocks tinged with electricity. Even if it doesn't score a direct hit, the jolt of electricity will do the job. Voltorb. Pokemon Red, Blue, Leaf Green, Pokemon Y, and Pokemon Violet. Usually found in power plants, easily mistaken for a Pokeball, they have zapped many people. Pokemon Gold, Heart Gold, and Pokemon Scarlet. It rolls to move. If the ground is uneven, a sudden jolt from hitting a bump can cause it to explode. Pokemon Crystal. During the study of this Pokemon, it was discovered that its components are not found in nature. Pokemon Ruby and Omega Ruby. Voltorb was first sighted at a company that manufactures Pokeballs. The link between that sighting and the fact that this Pokemon looks very similar to a Pokeball remains a mystery. Pokemon Sapphire and Alpha Sapphire. Voltorb is extremely sensitive. It explodes at the slightest of shocks. It is rumored that it was first created when a Pokeball was exposed to a powerful pulse of energy. Pokemon Emerald. It bears an uncanny and unexplained resemblance to a Pokeball because it explodes at the slightest shock. Even veteran trainers treat it with caution. Electrode, 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 Electrode. Electrode. Pokemon Gold and Heart Gold. It is dangerous. If it has too much electricity and has nothing to do, it amuses itself by exploding. Pokemon Crystal and Pokemon Scarlet. The more energy it charges up, the faster it gets, but this also makes it more likely to explode. Pokemon Ruby and Omega Ruby. Electrode eats electricity in the atmosphere. On days when lightning strikes, you can see this Pokemon exploding all over the place from eating too much electricity. Pokemon Sapphire and Alpha Sapphire. One of Electrode's characteristics is its attraction to electricity. It is a problematical Pokemon that congregates mostly at electrical power plants to feed on electricity that has just been generated. Pokemon Fire Red, Pokemon X, and Pokemon Violet. It explodes in response to even minor stimuli. It is feared with the nickname of the Bomb Ball. Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Black and White 2, Brilliant Diamond, and Pokemon Shining Pearl. It is known to drift on winds if it is bloated to bursting with Pokemon Yellow, Let's Go Pikachu, and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. If a major power outage occurs, it is certain that this Pokemon has eaten electricity at a power plant. Pokemon Gold, Heart Gold, and Pokemon X. Electricity runs across the surface of its body in darkness. Its entire body glows a whitish blue. Pokemon Crystal. When two Electabuzz touch, they control the electric currents to communicate their feelings. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, Omega Ruby, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. When a storm arrives, gangs of this Pokemon compete with each other to scale heights that are likely to be stricken by lightning bolts. Some towns use Electabuzz in place of lightning rods. Pokemon Platinum and Pokemon Black and White. It windmills its arms to slightly boost its punches. Foes have been known to escape in the meantime. Pokemon Ultra Moon. While it's often blamed for power outages, the truth is the cause of outages is more often an error on the part of the electric company. Pokemon Sword. Many power plants keep ground-type Pokemon around as a defense against Electabuzz that come seeking electricity. Pokemon Legends Arceus feeds on electrical energy. During sudden showers beneath looming thunderclouds, one can observe Electabuzz scaling tall trees, where the Pokemon will then wait for lightning to strike. Jolteon, Pokemon Yellow, Let's Go Pikachu, and Let's Go Eevee. A sensitive Pokemon that easily becomes sad or angry. Every time its mood changes, it charges power. Pokemon Crystal. The negatively charged ions generated in its fur create a constant sparking noise. Pokemon Platinum, Black and White, and Pokemon Violet. If agitated, it uses electricity to straighten out its fur and launch it in small bunches. Pokemon Heart Gold and Pokemon Scarlet. It concentrates the weak electric charges emitted by its cells and launches wicked lightning bolts. Pokemon Sun. They send out electrical charges of about 10,000 volts. Because they are high-strung, it can be difficult to grow close to them. Pokemon Ultra Sun. Its lungs contain an organ that creates electricity. The crackling sound of electricity can be heard when it exhales. Zapdos. Pokemon Red, Blue, Leaf Green, and Pokemon X. A legendary bird Pokemon that is said to appear from clouds while dropping enormous lightning bolts. Pokemon Gold and Heart Gold. This legendary bird Pokemon causes savage thunderstorms by flapping its glittering wings. Pokemon Silver and Soul Silver. This legendary bird Pokemon is said to appear only when a thundercloud parts into two halves. Pokemon Sword. This Pokemon has complete control over electricity. There are tales of Zapdos nesting in the dark depths of pitch black thunderclouds. Pokemon Shield. Zapdos is a legendary bird Pokemon. It's said that when Zapdos rubs its feathers together, lightning will fall immediately after. Pichu, 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 Pokemon Silver, Fire Red, Soul Silver, and Pokemon Sword. Despite its small size, it can zap even adult humans. However, if it does so, it also surprises itself. Pokemon Sapphire and Alpha Sapphire. When Pichu plays with others, it may short out electricity with another Pichu, creating a shower of sparks. In that event, this Pokemon will begin crying, startled by the flash of sparks. Pokemon Emerald. It is still inept at retaining electricity. When it is startled, it discharges power accidentally. It gets better at holding power as it grows older. Pokemon Pearl, Pokemon X, and Shining Pearl. It plays with others by touching tails and setting off sparks. This appears to be a test of courage. Pokemon Sun. It is not yet skilled at controlling electricity. If you take your eyes off of it, it may shock itself. Pokemon Moon and Pokemon Violet. Despite this Pokemon's cute appearance, those who want to live with one should prepare to be on the receiving end of its electric jolts. Mareep. Pokemon Gold, Leaf Green, Heart Gold, and Pokemon Scarlet. If static electricity builds in its body, its fleece doubles in volume. Touching it will shock you. Pokemon Silver, Fire Red, Soul Silver, and Pokemon Violet. Its fleece grows continually. In the summer, the fleece is fully shed, but it grows back in a week. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, Omega Ruby, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Mareep's fluffy coat of wool rubs together and builds a static charge. The more static electricity is charged, the more brightly the light bulb at the tip of its tail grows. Fluffy. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, Omega Ruby, and Alpha Sapphire. Fluffy's wool quality changes so that it can generate a high amount of static electricity with a small amount of wool. The bare and slick parts of its hide are shielded against electricity. Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Black and White, and Pokemon Y. If its coat becomes fully charged with electricity, its tail lights up. It fires hair that zaps on impact. Pokemon Ultra Sun. In the places on its body where fleas don't grow, its skin is rubbery and doesn't conduct electricity. Those spots are safe to touch. Pokemon Ultra Moon. It stores electricity in its fluffy fleece. If it stores up too much, it will start to go bald in those patches. Ampharos. Pokemon Silver, Fire Red, Soul Silver, and Pokemon Scarlet. The bright light on its tail can be seen far away. It has been treasured since ancient times as a beacon. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Omega Ruby, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Ampharos gives off so much light that it can be seen even from space. People in the old days used the light of this Pokemon to send signals back and forth with others far away. Pokemon Ultra Sun. The light from its tail can be seen from space. This is why you can always tell exactly where it is, which is why it usually keeps the light off. Elegant, 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 elegant. Pokemon Gold, Leaf Green, and Pokemon Heart Gold. It rotates its arms to generate electricity, but it tires easily, so it charges up only a little bit. Pokemon Silver, Fire Red, and Pokemon Soul Silver. Even in the most vicious storm, this Pokemon plays happily if thunder rumbles in the sky. Pokemon Sun. When it's in a house, electrical outlets serve as its baby bottles. It sucks down electricity. Pokemon Moon. This Pokemon is constantly fighting with Togedemaru that try to steal its electricity. It's a pretty even match. Pokemon Ultra Sun. When it hears the crash of thunder, Elegant's mood improves. It can be useful to record that sound and play it when Elegant's feeling down. Pokemon Ultra Moon. When its horns shine a bluish white, that's the sign it's fully charged. You'll get a shocking jolt if you touch it. Pokemon Legends Arceus. They generate electricity by spinning their arms. During a thunderstorm, if one hears the lively voices of children out in the wilderness, what one is actually hearing are the voices of Elegant. Raikou. Pokemon Gold, Leaf Green, Heart Gold, and Pokemon X. The rain clouds it carries let it fire thunderbolts at will. They say that it descended with lightning. Pokemon Crystal and Pokemon Y. This rough Pokemon stores energy inside its body, then sweeps across the land, shooting off electricity. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Omega Ruby, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Raikou embodies the speed of lightning. The roars of this Pokemon send shockwaves shuddering through the air and shake the ground as if lightning bolts had come crashing down. Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Black and White 2, Brilliant Diamond, and Pokemon Shining Pearl. It is said to have fallen with lightning. It can fire thunderbolts from the rain cloud on its back. Electrike. Pokemon Ruby and Omega Ruby. Electrike stores electricity in its long body hair. This Pokemon stimulates its leg muscles with electric charges. These jolts of power give its legs explosive acceleration performance. Pokemon Sapphire and Alpha Sapphire. Electrike runs faster than the human eye can follow. The friction from running is converted into electricity, which is then stored in this Pokemon's fur. Pokemon Emerald. It generates electricity using friction from the atmosphere. In seasons with especially arid air, its entire body blazes with violent showers of sparks. Pokemon Ultra Sun. Friction between the air and its fur produces static electricity. When Electrike runs, it makes a crackling sound. Manectric, Manectric, Manectric. Manectric. Pokemon Ruby and Omega Ruby. Manectric is constantly discharging electricity from its mane. The sparks sometimes ignite forest fires. When it enters a battle, this Pokemon creates thunderclouds. Pokemon Fire Red, Leaf Green, Shield. It rarely appears before people. It is said to nest where lightning has fallen. Pokemon Emerald. Because lightning falls in their vicinities, Manectric were thought to have been born from lightning. In battle, they create thunderclouds. Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Black and White 2, Pokemon Y, Brilliant Diamond, and Pokemon Shining Pearl. It discharges electricity from its mane. It creates a thundercloud overhead to drop lightning bolts. Pokemon Ultramoon and Pokemon Sword. It stimulates its own muscles with electricity so it can move quickly. It eases its soreness with electricity too, so it can recover quickly as well. Mega Manectric. Pokemon Ultra Sun. Mega Evolution fills its body with a tremendous amount of electricity, but it's too much for Manectric to fully control. Pokemon Ultra Moon. Too much electricity has built up in its body, irritating Manectric. Its explosive speed is equal to that of a lightning bolt. Blastoise. Pokemon Sapphire and Alpha Sapphire. When Blastoise is cheering on its partner, it flashes with electric sparks from all over its body. If its partner loses, this Pokemon cries loudly. Pokemon Emerald. It has the trait of cheering on its fellow Pokemon. By shorting out the electricity it releases from its paws, it creates pom-poms for cheering. Pokemon Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and Pokemon Y. It absorbs electricity from telephone poles. It shorts out its body to create crackling noises. Minun. Pokemon Ruby and Omega Ruby. Minun is more concerned about cheering on its partners than its own safety. It shorts out the electricity in its body to create brilliant showers of sparks to cheer on its teammates. Pokemon Fire Red and Pokemon Leaf Green. Its dislike of water makes it take shelter under the eaves of houses in rain. It uses pom-poms made of sparks for cheering. Pokemon Emerald. At a meeting of Pokemon academics, it was announced that simultaneous exposure to electricity from a Blastoise and Minun will promote circulation and boost vitality. Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Black and White 2, Pokemon Y, Brilliant Diamond, and Pokemon Shining Pearl. It cheers on friends. If its friends are losing, its body lets off more and more sparks. Shinx. Pokemon Pearl and Shining Pearl. Its forelegs have a muscle-based system of generating electricity. Its body shines if endangered. Pokemon Sword. This Pokemon generates electricity by contracting its muscles. Excited trembling is a sign that Shinx is generating a tremendous amount of electricity. Pokemon Shield. Electricity makes this Pokemon's fur glow. Shinx sends signals to others of its kind by shaking the tips of its tail, while the tail tip is shining brightly. Pokemon Legends Arceus shakes its body to generate electricity. Its stature belies its aggression. One must be patient to tame this Pokemon. Luxio. Pokemon Diamond, Pokemon X, Omega Ruby, and Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. produce electricity with enough amperage to cause fainting. They live in small groups. Pokemon Pearl and Shining Pearl. It rests its forelegs on others to communicate with rhythmic electric pulses from its claws. Pokemon Platinum, Black and White, Pokemon Black and White 2, Pokemon Y, Alpha Sapphire, and Pokemon Scarlet. Strong electricity courses through the tips of its sharp claws. A light scratch causes fainting in foes. Pokemon Sword. By joining its tail with that of another Luxio, this Pokemon can receive some of the other Luxio's electricity and power up its own electric blasts. Pokemon Legends Arceus proudly uses its electrified claws as weapons. It seems to be a gracious Pokemon, evenly sharing the spoils of the hunt with others of its kind. Luxray. Pokemon Pearl, Pokemon X, Omega Ruby, and Pokemon Shining Pearl. When its eyes gleam gold, it can spot hiding prey, even those taking shelter behind a wall. Pokemon Platinum, Black and White 2, and Pokemon Scarlet. It can see clearly through walls to track down its prey and seek its lost young. Pokemon Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Pokemon Y, Alpha Sapphire, and Pokemon Violet. Luxray's ability to see through objects comes in handy when it's scouting for danger. Pokemon Shield. Seeing through solid objects uses up a lot of Luxray's electricity, so the Pokemon sleeps for long periods of time to store up energy. Pachirisu. Pokemon Diamond, Pokemon X, and Omega Ruby. It makes fur balls that crackle with static electricity. It stores them with berries in tree holes. Pokemon Pearl and Shining Pearl. It makes electricity with pouches in its cheeks and shoots charges from its tail. It lives atop trees. Pokemon Platinum, Black and White 2, and Pokemon Violet. A pair may be seen rubbing their cheek pouches together in an effort to share stored electricity. Pokemon Legends Arceus, a species related to the Pikachu line. Though Pachirisu is a calm Pokemon, it still presents a danger should one touch its electrified tail or cheeks. Electivire. Pokemon Platinum and Pokemon Black and White. Heedless of enemy attacks, it closes in, shoves its tail onto the foe, then looses high voltage. Pokemon Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Pokemon X, and Omega Ruby. As its electrified charge amplifies, blue sparks begin to crackle between its horns. Pokemon Moon. When it gets excited, it thumps its chest with every thud. Thunder roars and electric sparks shower all around. Pokemon Sword. The amount of electrical energy this Pokemon produces is proportional to the rate of its pulse. The voltage jumps while Electivire is battling. Pokemon Shield. In terms of electrical energy output, Electivire is one of the best among all electric Pokemon. It discharges high voltage currents from its tails. Pokemon Legends Arceus. It Its evolution was induced by an unusual item, and its electrical output rises along with its heart rate. From its tails, it can unleash an electric current measuring 20,000 volts. Fan Rotom, Pokemon Sword. In this form, Rotom applies its new power over wind to its love of pranks. It will happily blow away any important documents it can find. Blitzel. Pokemon White, Pokemon X, and Pokemon Omega Ruby. When thunderclouds cover the sky, it will appear. It can catch lightning with its mane and store the electricity. Pokemon Black and White 2, Pokemon Y, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Its mane shines when it discharges electricity. They use the frequency and rhythm of these flashes to communicate. Zebstrika. Pokemon Black, Pokemon Y, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. When Zebstrika run at full speed, the sound of thunder reverberates. Pokemon White, Black and White 2, Pokemon X, and Pokemon Omega Ruby. This ill-tempered Pokemon is dangerous because when it's angry, it shoots lightning from its mane in all directions. Emolga. Pokemon Black and White 2. It glides on its outstretched membrane while shocking foes with electricity stored in the pouches on its cheeks. Pokemon Moon. It grills berries and bug Pokemon with electric shocks and makes a meal of them. It usually nests in holes gouged in trees by Pick-a-Peck. Pokemon Ultra Sun. They store up electricity to fly through the air. When thunder cracks at night, sometimes there are almost enough of them to blot out the sky. Pokemon Shield. This Pokemon absolutely loves sweet berries. Sometimes it stuffs its cheeks full of so much food that it can't fly properly. Dynamo. Pokemon Black, Pokemon X, Omega Ruby, and Pokemon Scarlet. While one alone doesn't have much power, a chain of many dynamo can be as powerful as lightning. Pokemon White and Pokemon Violet. These Pokemon move in schools. They have an electricity generating organ, so they discharge electricity if in danger. Electric. Pokemon White, Pokemon Y, Alpha Sapphire, and Pokemon Violet. These Pokemon have a big appetite. When they spot their prey, they attack it and paralyze it with electricity. Pokemon Black and White 2, Pokemon X, and Pokemon Omega Ruby. It wraps itself around its prey and paralyzes it with electricity from the round spots on its sides. Then it jumps. Electros. Pokemon Black, Pokemon Y, Alpha Sapphire, and Pokemon Scarlet. They crawl out of the ocean using their arms. They will attack prey on shore and immediately drag it into the ocean. Pokemon Black and White 2 and Pokemon Violet. It latches onto prey with its sucker mouth, sinking in its fangs and shocking the prey with powerful electricity. Thundurus. Incarnate form. Pokemon Black and White 2, Pokemon Y, and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. As it flies around, it It shoots lightning all over the place and causes forest fires. It is therefore disliked. Pokemon Legends Arceus. They say this wielder of electricity has waged war with its nemesis, Tornadus, since time immemorial. The lightning bolts it hurls pierce the very earth and enrich the soil. Thundurus, Therian form. Pokemon Legends Arceus, quick as a flash. It materializes out of nowhere. It pulverizes foes into nothingness with showers of devastatingly powerful lightning bolts launched from the string of orbs on its tail. Helioptile, Pokemon Sword. When spread, the frills on its head act like solar panels, generating the power behind this Pokemon's electric moves. Pokemon Shield. The sun powers this Pokemon's electricity generation. Interruption of that process stresses Helioptile to the point of weakness. Heliolisk. Pokemon Y and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. It stimulates its muscles with electricity, boosting the strength in its legs and enabling it to run 100 yards in 5 seconds. Pokemon Sword. A now vanished desert culture treasured these Pokemon appropriately. When Heliolisk came to the Galar region, treasure came with them. Oricorio, Pom-Pom style. Pokemon Sun. This Oricorio has sipped bright yellow nectar. Its bright, cheerful dance melts the hearts of its enemies. Pokemon Moon. It creates an electric charge by rubbing its feathers together. It dances over to its enemies and delivers shocking electrical punches. Pokemon Violet. The energetic, cheerful dance of these Oricorio is popular with children, but the Oricorio themselves are hard to find in Paldea. Circuitry. Pokemon Moon. It appeared from the Ultra Wormhole. It raided a power plant, so people think it energizes itself with electricity. Pokemon Ultra Moon. They've been dubbed Ultra Beasts. Some of them stand unmoving, like trees with their arms and legs stuck into the ground. Zeraora. Pokemon Ultra Sun. It electrifies its claws and tears its opponents apart with them. Even if they dodge its attacks, they will be electrocuted by the flying sparks. Pokemon Shield. Electricity sparks from the pads on its limbs. Wherever Zeraora runs, lightning flashes and thunder echoes. Yamper. Pokemon Sword. This Pokemon is very popular as a herding dog in the Galar region. As it runs, it generates electricity from the base of its tail. Pokemon Shield. This gluttonous Pokemon only assists people with their work because it wants treats. As it runs, it crackles with electricity. Boldund. Pokemon Sword. This Pokemon generates electricity and channels it into its legs to keep them going strong. Boldund can run non-stop for 3 full days. Pokemon Shield. It sends electricity through its legs to boost their strength. Running at top speed, it easily breaks 50 miles per hour. Toxel. poison to produce electricity. The voltage is weak, but it can cause a tingling paralysis. Pokemon Violet. This selfish, attention-seeking Pokemon stores poison and electricity in 2 different sacs inside its body. Toxtricity amped form. Pokemon Sword. When this Pokemon sounds as if it's strumming a guitar, it's actually clawing at the protrusions on its chest to generate electricity. Pokemon Scarlet. As it scatters toxic sweat and emits electricity, a melody that sounds like it came from a guitar reverberates through the surrounding area. Toxtricity. Low-key form. Pokemon Scarlet. Many youths admire the way this Pokemon listlessly picks fights and keeps its cool no matter what opponent it faces. Pokemon Violet. As it gulps down stagnant water and generates electricity in its body, a sound like a rhythm played by a bass guitar reverberates all around. Pincurchin. Pokemon Shield. It stores electricity in each spine. Even if one gets broken off, it still continues to emit electricity for at least 3 hours. Pokemon Scarlet. This Pokemon generates electricity when it digests food. It uses its 5 hard teeth to scrape seaweed off surfaces and eat it. Regieleki. Pokemon Shield. Its entire body is made up of a single organ that generates electrical energy. Regieleki is capable of creating all Galar's electricity. Balmy. Pokemon Violet. The pads of its paws are electricity discharging organs. Balmy fires electricity from its forepaws while standing unsteadily on its hind legs. Balmo. Pokemon Scarlet. When its group is attacked, Balmo is the first to leap into battle, defeating enemies with a fighting technique that utilizes electric shocks. Palmot. Pokemon Violet. Palmet's fluffy fur acts as a battery. It can store the same amount of electricity as an electric car. Tadbulb. Pokemon Scarlet. Tadbulb shakes its tail to generate electricity. If it senses danger, it will make its head blink on and off to alert its allies. Bellybolt, Bellybolt, Bellybolt. Bellybolt. Pokemon Scarlet. When this Pokemon expands and contracts its wobbly body, the belly button dynamo in its stomach produces a huge amount of electricity. What? Troll. Pokemon Violet. These Pokemon make their nests on coastal cliffs. The nests have a strange, crackling texture, and they're a popular delicacy. Kilowattrel. Pokemon Scarlet. Kilowattrel inflates its throat sac to amplify its electricity. By riding the wind, this Pokemon can fly over 430 miles in a day. Iron Hands. Pokemon Scarlet. It is very similar to a cyborg covered exclusively by a paranormal magazine. The cyborg was said to be the modified form of a certain athlete. Iron Thorns. Pokemon Violet. Some of its notable features colors match those of an object named within a certain expedition journal as iron thorns. That was the last entry for our electric Pokemon Pokedex readings. Before you go, I have a question to ask. Which electric type would you want to watch fireworks with on this 4th of July? My two options are either Pikachu or Ampharos. Pikachu because Pikachu's iconic. He's iconic electric mouse Pokemon in both the anime games, and I would love to watch fireworks with the Pokemon mascot. And I chose Ampharos because I loved Ampharos in my Emerald playthrough, and they're one of my favorite electric type Pokemons because of that. I also think their ability to glow so bright in the dark would be a neat thing to have, since fireworks are usually at night in the dark. I would feel very safe with my Ampharos. Let me know which ones you guys choose. For now,